You're qualified, you're applying to the right roles, but still no interview. If you're not getting called back, your cover letter might just be the reason. Most of them get skimmed, but a strong one reframes your resume and makes somebody want to meet you. This video shows you how to stop writing like everybody else and start writing in a way that is going to get you noticed, so that you finally start hearing back and stop getting overlooked for things that you're really qualified to do before you've even walked in the room. Let's talk about why most cover letters do nothing. Everybody talks about writing a strong cover letter, but what does that even mean? If you're doing what you've always done and you're still not getting interviews, something is off. So what exactly could be going wrong? Take this example. I'm excited to apply for this role. My background in operations makes me a strong fit. Thank you for your time. It's polite, but it's vague. It doesn't say anything specific about the role, the company, or why the writer cares. It could have been sent to 50 different companies and no one would know the difference. And most cover letters sound like this. They sound almost identical. They're short, polite, and centered entirely on the candidate. But hiring managers don't read to be impressed by your bio. They're skimming for relevance. And if they don't find something that connects quickly, they're just going to move on. Compare that example to this. After 5 years leading cross-functional teams through operational pivots, I'm looking for a role where I can shape not just process, but strategy. And that's why this opportunity stood out to me. This version gives the reader a clear reason why the role itself is a fit and what the person is hoping to contribute. It sounds like a real human who's thought about this opportunity, what they want to do next, and how those both things connect together. Most cover letters fail not because they're bad, but because they say exactly what every other candidate is saying. So if repeating the same polite phrases doesn't work, what is the cover letter actually for then? Why bother when your resume already covers your background? Let's say your resume shows a 10-year career in marketing. You've worked across digital, content, and brand. But now you want to focus on strategic leadership in brand positioning. That intent doesn't show up on your resume. It just looks like a list of roles. And this is where your cover letter can come in. It's the thing that helps you guide your story or provide the context on what it is that you want to do next. You can say something like, I've spent the last decade shaping brand voices and now I'm looking to lead the overall strategy behind them. The resume tells them what you've done. The cover letter helps them understand what it means in the context of this role. And when you're straddling roles or changing industries or stepping up a level, that context can be the difference between being seen as a maybe and being seen as a match. Your resume lists the past, your cover letter controls how they interpret that and where they see you in their future. But there's a huge problem with copy and paste cover letters. Maybe you've been told before to just tweak the name of the company and the role each time in your cover letter. But if that worked, you would be getting more interviews, wouldn't you? So why doesn't this shortcut land? Think about this example. I'm excited to apply to XYZ Corp for the role of operations manager. I believe my skills in leadership and communication make me a strong fit. It technically mentions the company and the job, but the tone, it's pretty flat, it's generic, and it could have been pulled from a template or just written by a chatbot. Hiring managers can feel that. There's no energy or purpose to it, no insight, no sense that the writer actually understands the challenges of this role. Try this instead. This role caught my attention because it combines internal ops with external partner strategy, and that's a space that I've been moving into over the last 2 years while leading cross-functional teams at Growth Tech. That example shows that the writer understands the nature of the job itself and has thought about relevant experience that they might bring. So if your cover letter is just swapping in the role and company name and is largely the same other than that, or worse, forgets to actually change those details, because I see that all of the time as well, then it's probably one of the reasons you're being skipped over. One of the most frustrating pieces of feedback that we can get in a job search process is, we went with somebody with more experience. What if experience isn't the only thing that matters? Can your cover letter actually help to close that gap? Let's say that you're a mid-level manager applying for a director role. You've led key projects, you've coached junior staff, you've worked directly with stakeholders, but the title on your resume doesn't say director yet. That's where positioning comes in, and your cover letter can say, while my title has been manager, I've led department-wide initiatives, mentored new team leads, and regularly presented strategic updates to the senior leadership team. I'm ready to formalize that scope in a director role. You're showing them that the work that you've done to date already matches the level that you're aiming for. Hiring decisions don't only care about who checks the most boxes, they're also about who feels ready, who is showcasing that they are at the stage where they're ready to take that next step up. So if you're consistently hearing the feedback that we went with somebody with more experience, then think about how you can reframe your cover letter to showcase that you're already at that level and have been operating there for some time. Okay, so what does a good cover letter actually do? Well, it can reframe your experience, as I've said, but it also can steer how they're interpreting your experience. Take two candidates. They've got the same years of experience. One writes, I've worked in brand, digital, and content marketing, and I'm passionate about communication. Other writes, across digital, brand, and content marketing, I've consistently helped teams translate strategy into messaging that drives engagement. I'm looking to bring that blend of creative and strategic thinking into a leadership role. It's the same background, but it is a very different impression. Too many people either just list achievements or try hard to sound impressive. The best letters do neither. They just explain clearly who you are and what you care about and why this role is a fit for you. They sound like somebody you'd actually want to talk to. And the only reason to write a cover letter is to shape how they interpret your resume. It is not about listing achievements. It's about motivation, relevance, and positioning. So how do you make sure your cover letter stands out without sounding desperate or overdone? Well, here is a simple 4-step checklist. First, explain why you want the role and why this one specifically is what you're after. Show that you understand what the organization is actually dealing with and connect 1 or 2 examples that directly prove the value that you can offer. And lastly, leave them curious to hear more from you. Let's say you're applying to a company that's just gone through a merger. Your cover letter might say something like, the recent merger between X and Y caught my eye. I've led post-acquisition integration work before and know how critical communication and alignment is in those first 90 days. That kind of detail in the cover letter shows that you understand what's going on inside the company, that you've done your research and you know how your experience relates. Then you tie it to your story. In my last role, I helped align 3 teams after an internal restructure, smoothing out reporting lines and managing cross-department updates. It makes the connection directly for them. It helps them picture you in the role, and it explains why you want this role. Show that you understand the organization's challenges. Connect 1 or 2 key examples that prove your value and leave them curious to meet you. You might be tempted to just skip the cover letter altogether, and I wouldn't blame you. After all, some applications say it's optional, but can you afford to miss out on an opportunity to stand out? Around 40% of hiring managers do read cover letters. I polled my audience on LinkedIn on this, and I was really surprised that 40% of people were saying cover letters were absolutely essential. They always read them. 40% of people were saying that they weren't important, they didn't read them. And the remaining 20% said, I have no idea, please help me out. But what that tells me is that you can't just rely on the fact that this person may not be interested in a cover letter. Unless you have called and specifically spoken to the hiring manager and all of the decision makers on that panel to understand how they feel about cover letters, then you have to put one forward. So what separates candidates who blend in from those who stand out truly? It's not always experience. More often, it's coming down to how clearly they're connecting the dots. Imagine 2 resumes with similar experience. One just lists roles, the other says, throughout my career, I've stepped into ambiguous environments and brought structure, whether that's launching new onboarding systems or rebuilding reporting frameworks. And that's what drew me to this role. That kind of framing is helping the reader very quickly see how your experience applies to their context. The best candidates aren't just showing experience, they're connecting it to what this organization actually needs. And that's what helps hiring managers in their decision-making process. It can be the thing that tips them across the line in choosing you over somebody with similar experience. Now that your cover letter actually gets you into the room, the next challenge is what happens once you're there. Most people sabotage interviews without even knowing it through subtle traps that shake confidence and blur their message. Watch this video to learn the 7 traps that quietly cost great candidates the job and how you can avoid them with calm, clear confidence.